Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us here on our YouTube channel for episode number 811. Well, today we're going to talk dairy farming, surviving a 5-generation dairy, and moving into the future, even considering current dairy prices and the history over the last few years in the dairy industry. Rebeckah Schroeder is going to be joining us from Caledonia, Minnesota, and we're going to get that started for you right now. Joining me today is Rebeckah Schroeder, and she is coming to us from the farm in Caledonia, Minnesota. She's a former chapter vice president there at Caledonia High School, as well as a state proficiency winner and a national finalist in dairy production placement. Rebeckah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Did I get it right? Are you working on the farm right now?
Yep, I'm currently working full-time on my family's 165-cow dairy farm, which I've been working on since I graduated high school in 2018. I really enjoy working on the farm because I get to be outside every day working with animals and taking care of them. I'm in charge of scheduling shifts, and I milk cows every day, morning and night, do calf chores, and just look at the overall herd management of our farm.
Okay, very good. Well, what kind of cattle are you milking there on your dairy?
On our farm, we have all Holstein cows. We do have a couple crossbreds, but we're mainly milking Holstein cows.
Okay. All right, very good. So is that how, I guess I start with how long has this farm, this dairy, been in your family?
I'm not exactly sure the date, but I will be the 5th generation to take over the family farm. So it's definitely been going on in our area. We've definitely grown a lot since we first started, mainly in our crop department. We're currently farming about 1,600 acres in addition to milking our cows. So it gets to be a challenge as times get more advanced and technology advances, everything gets bigger. So we're trying to keep up with that curve.
And is all of the farming going to feed the cows?
Yep. We actually have an abundance of crops. We grow corn and soybeans, and we do all of our own hay. We grow a little bit of oats. And with those fields, we make bedding off of all of them so we can feed our cows throughout the whole year with them. So we usually end up selling our corn and soybeans, and so we have way too much for the cows to eat, so they get plenty of fresh corn and hay and everything to last throughout the whole year.
Okay, very cool. Now, has this farm always been a dairy farm?
Yep, and I hope will be forever. Yeah. I really enjoy the dairy cows because they're super calm and they always have different personalities, but just getting to work with them every day is a good challenge for me.
All right. Now, is it always been Holsteins, or is that something that's changed over time?
Nope, we've always been a Holstein dairy farm. We used to have beef cows back when my dad was younger, but I have not seen beef cows. Apparently we used to have pigs too, but I was never around for the pigs. But we still, we raise all of our heifers and our bull calves yet, so we're pretty busy just doing cows.
Okay. So, there's all this social isolation and people not going to work all over the country right now, but you're on a dairy. That's not the case for you, is it?
Nope, we're still running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is fun. I mean, we haven't been really affected by the social distancing much because everything still has to run. There are a couple things with the co-ops and stuff that we can't walk into. We have to call and place orders ahead of time and do that. So that gets a little challenging, but, we make do with what we have. But like you said, everything runs just normally 365 days a year, no matter what's going on, whether it's snowing or raining or anything, any Minnesota weather can throw at us. Yeah. We're ready to take it at any given moment.
It's interesting the way you responded to that, and it kind of dawned on me as you said that, but, there's going to be some silver linings out of this coronavirus deal, especially with people being sent home. But one of those, when you said that, was that you're not sitting there going, no, we don't get to take time off. You're sitting there, no, I want to be here. I want to be working. I want to be on the dairy. I don't want to be shut down. And for anybody who is either wishing they were sent home to not work right now, or they're at home and not working and going, I don't want to go back, man, what a great time for people to reassess what they're doing for a living. Everybody should have your attitude.
Yep, and we do have a couple people that work on our farm on the weekends that actually have full-time jobs throughout the week.
Uh-huh.
And a couple of them have gotten laid off, and they're actually picking up more hours on the farm. So it's good to have, be a little diverse in your job performance too. So like we have a guy that he is a mechanic for cars, and he just got laid off, is now picking up hours on the farm. So he can actually do two things at one time. So it's good to have him around to help us during our time. We're actually just started yesterday combining last year's corn, so hopefully get that out in the next couple of days and we can finally be done with 2019 harvest.
Oh, man. So you're just starting combining last year's corn. So you just let it sit out in the field over the winter and dry down?
Yep. We were harvesting up until January, and then it just got too much snow up here and was just it was just really miserable for us to combine. So we finally, now it's dry enough up here so we have about 90 acres left to complete.
Okay.
So it finally got everything started back up and we're good to go, but it's supposed to rain in the next couple of days, so we'll see how far we get.
Right. Now, what part of Minnesota are you in?
We're in the extreme southeast corner of Minnesota, right on the borders of Iowa and Wisconsin.
Okay, very interesting. Well, that's great. You paint a great picture of your farm, and obviously you love it. I'm happy for you in that respect. Let's talk about FFA for a minute. How long, or I should say, since now you're out, when did you join the FFA? Was it your freshman year, or was it in middle school?
Yep. I kind of started in 8th grade doing a little bit of work within the chapter, but I didn't really start doing any regional competitions until my freshman year. And I competed in the dairy cattle evaluation team my first couple of years in it. I also competed in the milk quality team, and I also did the Farm Bureau and FFA discussion meet, where I got to talk about different things with a group of people and just kind of strategize on how we think the future can change for FFA. So that was really good. In all those CDs, I learned how to communicate with people, how to stay on top of things, and really dig deep into FFA in general, and then specifically for me, dairy cattle in general, with the milk quality CDE and the dairy. I really got to look at, what they're looking at in cows and why certain cows are better than others and their productivity, and just refine those skills that I'm currently using now when I'm working on the farm.
Oh, that's great. Well, good for you. And so what brought you into the FFA? What was it about the organization where you wanted to join?
Well, I grew up on my family farm, so that was a big plus. And I always really liked working on the family farm, but my dad really encouraged me to pursue FFA. He was an FFA member himself. Wasn't quite as active in FFA as I was, but he judged on the dairy team as well, and he also did a whole bunch of other different teams, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, he really encouraged me to start FFA because it can give you a whole bunch of different opportunities. Through FFA, I've gone to national convention 4 times, and I hope to go back again before I'm done to get my national FFA degree.
Awesome.
But just the different experiences that I've gotten, the people I've met through FFA is definitely a really big plus when it comes to FFA. It's not just about the agricultural aspects of it, the dairy, the crops, and like for anybody and everybody, chickens, horses, pigs, but it's the communication you get with other people, the things you learn, how to be a leader, is a lot of things that I've taken from FFA that can go beyond just high school. Like for me, just continuing FFA after high school has really been a good asset for me just to keep up with, other people that I've met along the road.
And you're 20 years old now?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Well, now you became an officer while you were in high school and in the FFA. Why did you go to that length to be on the officer team?
I really like being on the officer team because I love to help guide people and lead people and just give them a place where they can come to and give them an environment to work in. Not everybody's born to lead, and I was born to lead. So I thought that my experience prior in FFA and all of my experience that I wanted to gain and the goals that I had, I wanted to share with other members and just be an outlet and an example for them to follow. So I think that's really helped me as I've gotten further into my FFA career, I'm setting a good example and kind of guiding people along the way, so if they decided to follow the same path as me, that they would be more than welcome to.
Okay. Now, you say you're born to lead. How do you know you're born to lead?
I don't know. I have my personality, I guess, is really outgoing. I like to be involved is a main part. I like to be not in charge, but just more of a person to help one another out when they need it, or, answering questions and, planning things and just making sure everything goes forward. I don't like to sit back and watch things happen. So for me to be hands-on and get to, help somebody out is really where I strive.
Okay. Well, I know that you had multiple FFA advisors kind of throughout your journey that have helped you. Would you mind just letting everybody know who those folks were for you?
Yep. My first one I want to thank is Brad Harguth. He's from Caledonia. He started me off when I was really, really young. I've known him my whole life, just always there to support me. And then Connor McCormick came on the year after I graduated high school and really helped with my proficiency, helped refine my proficiency. And then Rich Larson just came last year to my school, and he's been a really good asset and helping with these competitions because he's been in them before. But all of them have really just been instrumental in helping guide me in the right directions and help refine what I know.
Awesome.
So I just really appreciate them because without them, I really wouldn't be where I am today.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for acknowledging them. And I want to take a quick moment, Rebeckah, just acknowledge a couple of our great sponsors here on the show. And everybody, of course, I want to mention Lacrosse Footwear. You can find them at lacrossefootwear.com. I'll tell you what, done right since 1897, Lacrosse Footwear has been making quality boots for hunting, working, and tending the land for over a century. And as you all know, I love to brag about lacrosse when we do our FFA episodes because they are proud to support the FFA by annually sponsoring 15 scholarships and along with 100 jackets as part of the Give the Gift of Blue program. We absolutely love lacrosse boots here on our farm here in Idaho, and we hope you will be loving them on your farm wherever you are at as well. Check them out at lacrossefootwear.com. And then everybody, Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment. I'm a huge fan of this company. I have been my whole life, and now they are a sponsor of my show. They have been for going on 3 years now, and man, they make great stuff. We use Powder River right here on our farm for our cattle. We use their squeeze chutes, their panels, and we're planning on upgrading to their sweep tubs, runways, all of that, and we hope you will do the same. Reduce the stress on those animals, reduce the potential for injury, and make your work much more efficient. Check them out at powderriver.com and let your local farm and ranch retailer know you'd like to see that Powder River green out in their yard. All right, well, Rebeckah, so this is normally the spot in the interview where I ask you what your SAE project has been, but obviously it's been working on your family's dairy farm. Do I understand that correctly?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. So you've been doing this probably ever since you were able. How have your responsibilities on the dairy changed over time, say from your freshman year of high school all the way up till now?
Yep. So I really started working on the dairy farm when I was 12. And back when I was 12, a lot of it was just me spending more time with my dad, helping on the farm. When I was 12, my responsibilities consisted of just milking cows, bottle feeding calves, and it was kind of done. I did it on the weekends, and it was really a good outlet for me to, not focus so much on school, but kind of have a little more of fun. But as I got into high school and I learned more things along the farm, I learned how to drive tractors, and so we have a bunch of John Deere tractors that we drive, anything from old tractors to new tractors, so that's really awesome, getting to drive different equipment, and that got me out into the field, and so I would help with haying and grain hauling and everything under the sun like that. But more now, since I've been graduated, I've really gotten into the mechanics of how cows act and how to treat cows and notice changes. And so when a cow walks into the parlor, I know exactly who she is without even looking. I know what she can milk. I just know her as a person. as just like another person is. You see a person and you know how they feel. The one thing I struggled with to begin with was the fact that cows can't talk to you.
Sure.
And so it's really hard to kind of see changes, but the more you get to know them and the more time you spend with those cows, you understand them better and can relate to them a little more without having them talk to you. So I can notice changes, whether that is them not milking anything or them coming in different spots in the parlor, because they all have their spots, and if they're not in their spot, then that's a little weird.
Right. Yeah, something's
so
off.
Just noticing changes, I guess, is the main thing that I've really refined since I first started working on the farm. But just overall herd management is also hard because you just got to make sure everything's healthy all the time. And noticing those changes is definitely a cure. So I've definitely got a little more alert since starting. But I do, throughout the week, the main chores I feed cows and heifers and milk every day, and but manure management is always there. Hauling manure and scooping manure, and just any day-to-day task. If something needs to be fixed, I'll fix it, and just you never know what the day is going to bring. And that's one thing I do like about farming is going in the day. You kind of know what you got to do, but there's so many unknowns there. I could plan to be done at noon, but next thing I know, it's 5 o'clock and I got to start milking again. So just take the day as it comes and always have a positive attitude.
It's really interesting what you say about getting to know the cows and their behavior better. And that's something I've noticed with myself over the years. I'm quite a bit older than you, but that's something that as I began working with cattle when I was about 16, and then more intensely over time, getting to the point where you can start to notice those subtle things. You might not even be able to explain why something is wrong. You just know something is wrong, so you're going to pull that cow out. You're going to look at her, maybe take her temperature, something, and see what's going on. And it's really interesting because it becomes kind of like an instinct or an intuition where you notice something's just a little bit different, and you just have to trust that and go with it and kind of investigate. Do you find that?
Yeah, definitely, and it does take the right type of person too. Like my weekend crew is only there 1 to 2 days out of the week. They don't notice changes like I do.
Right.
I'm there 7 days a week, seeing those cows every single day. And when something is wrong with them, you definitely know it. And like you said, just making sure that you spend the time with them to, like you said, take their temperature, listen to their heart, maybe listen to their lungs. If you have to, call a vet. You want to make sure that your cow is getting the best care that they possibly can, because things definitely can go downhill very fast, just like any other person. So we just want to make sure that everybody's healthy all the time and we do what's right for the cow.
Yeah. Well, I know this has been a challenging, several years now for the dairy industry. How have you guys been faring, and how are the prospects for the future?
We're doing pretty good, actually. Definitely, just like any other farmer around here, we definitely wish the prices would kind of come up a little bit. Definitely not making a ton of money, but I don't think anybody really is. Definitely growing in the crop department is where a lot of our money is coming from. So that helps with the low milk prices and everything. But we have a very good, we sell the Land O'Lakes, so we have a very good outlet for our milk, and so they always pay based on our butterfat and protein and somatic cell count, which we've kept very low, and our components really high. So our somatic cell count's always really low. We're under 100,000 pretty well all the time. So it's pretty consistently we're under 100,000, so that really helps. And we have high butterfat and protein content, so that also helps with having a higher milk check. But other than that, just trying to limit our costs and stuff, so try not to break things and, work with what you have. And we'll get through it. Some farms I know aren't, and that's very sad to see, but I don't know. For the future, I guess I hope that, things do turn around, but just trying to get through it, I guess, at the moment is what we are looking for.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, before we wrap it up, I want to ask your advice for other students out there. You talked about being a natural-born leader, and if you could, just for a moment, for that student that might be listening to this show who they're like you, they like to jump in, they like to take charge, they find themselves kind of being at the forefront of things or leading people in projects or ideas, whatever that may be, how could the FFA help them to refine those leadership skills?
FFA has many opportunities, and that's one thing that will always be there. A lot of people are scared when they look at FFA and they think it's only farmers. Farmers are the only ones that can join FFA, and that's not true. I just want to tell people that there's an opportunity for everybody in FFA, and that is one thing that I found out that I didn't know going into FFA. I had my dad to sit there and guide me and kind of push me a little bit towards FFA, but I'm here to tell you that you don't need any FFA experience, no farming experience. Like I said, I competed in the discussion meet, and that has really nothing to do with farming. That's just talking to certain people. Mm-hmm. And as you experience different things in FFA, you'll learn yourself how to be a better leader, how to communicate better, and the friends you can make can also give you different advice when it comes to being a better leader and things that they grew up in. So just don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Bring a friend if you don't want to go in alone. I know that's kind of scary, but if you just bring a friend and both join FFA together, your experiences are endless. Awesome.
Great advice. Rebeckah, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Well, thank you for joining us, everybody, and thank you to Rebeckah Schroeder for coming on the Off-Farm Income Podcast today. And as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.